The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining me. Happy Wednesday to everybody, as I also call it garbage night. So, and I saw like I have to take the garbage out. When I said it, it makes it sound like I'm talking about the show or the guest or whatever else. That was, yeah. Hi, Cheryl. Nice to have you on with us tonight. That's a great start, isn't it? I mean, my goodness.
It is garbage night, though.
Well, I mean, that's true. It is garbage night.
Yeah, it is.
My gosh. And before we get back to Cheryl with that wonderful opening I gave, I also want to give a shout out to Adam back over at Eden Prairie. How are you doing tonight?
Apparently I'm a garbage man. Is garbage night really?
Garbage night at GhostBox Radio. Yeah, it's really good start. Hey, listen, my punchiness is caused by Facebook. You know, all three of us talked about this prior to the program. And for all of you people who want to be bored to death, let me tell you that to fill you in, I mentioned a while back I had a little issue with Facebook getting taken, like being put on probation or whatever you call it, banned or whatever else. I'm still having issues with that. So like I can't share my program to, for example, my own page. Or another great example, AM 950's page. So it's really top-notch work here, and I just am I'm so over it. I really am. But it's whatever. We're on some places. I tried to share out the best I could, and as I can hear the opening to my show, I still haven't shared everywhere. So I'm like typing in like check out tonight's show, and every word is misspelt. And just is one thing after another, and but here's the thing, and Adam, I know that you are pretty excited about this. This is right up your alley. We're talking about Skinwalker Ranch tonight.
To me, Skinwalker is one of the most fascinating places that I've ever heard of. I eventually want to get there because I've always kind of been torn. You hear the stories. Is this a Native American curse? Are there aliens involved? To me, is there a third option? Because I'm willing to buy it with all the weird things that you hear that come out of Skinwalker Ranch and the Uinta Basin altogether there in Utah.
And I do want to apologize right now because I already saw that I had made this mistake in some post. I called it Skywalker Ranch because I am a big Star Wars fan, and that is something that just kind of rolls off my tongue. And it's like, I do know what Skinwalker Ranch is, folks. I really do. You could tell this is not technically, been a great technical week for me. So you'll have to forgive me now. And I see folks are saying that they're sharing to their pages and stuff, and I really appreciate that very much. Here's the thing. Adam, you talked about what you thought it is, and also the fact that it's, could it be something else? I think it's everything. Cheryl, I mean, first of all, let me introduce Cheryl, our guest tonight. Cheryl Lynn Carter is an author we've had on a number of times. We've talked with her about her book Chosen, talking about aliens. We've talked with her about Dimensions, which is a book about your triangles and stuff, and those have been great conversations. And Cheryl, your most recent book, Skinwalker Ranch Encounters, this just came out like in April or something, didn't it?
Right.
Brand spanking new.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the thing, right? Why don't we step back here? And for those of you who maybe just hear about the term and the place, like on the History Channel, maybe not checked it out or anything, Cheryl, what is Skinwalker Ranch?
It's a 512 acre ranch in the Uinta Basin. It's on the northern part of Utah, close to the Colorado border. It's in the Uinta Basin Valley, right next to the Ute Reservation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you get the curse, because there used to be Navajos there also before the white man came. And the reason for the curse that I have read is because they used to have a lot of mining there, because you heard there's a lot of lost mines there.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the Utes took Navajos as slaves and had them work in the mine. And that's why the Navajos put a curse. That's what I heard the curse was.
Okay.
And so if you've seen pictures of Skinwalker Ranch, you see along the one fence line, there's all these animal skulls there. And the Utes put those there to keep what is ever in the ranch inside there, so it doesn't come on their property, because the ranch is right, that property, all the ranches there are right down the middle, and it's all Ute territory on both sides.
That was going to be one of my questions tonight, was if any of that was spilling out, any of that activity was spilling out of the ranch, but people are taking measures to make sure that it stays pretty much contained, right?
Because obviously they believe it's true, yes.
But it's not contained, is it?
I don't see how it could be, no.
Right. And I mean, you're a great example of it. People in your book, Skinwalker Ranch Encounters, available on Amazon. Let's just get all that out there right now. All that stuff. I mean, the book is about people having their different encounters at the ranch. And one of the themes that I feel like that really kind of permeated throughout the book is simply the fact that you can go and visit Skinwalker Ranch, but it's going to stay with you. It doesn't leave you. It even if you don't take something from like the ranch itself, there's a lot of people who have had a lot of experiences after the fact.
That's why it's called the hitchhiker effect, because it hitchhikers and goes home with you. Yes, absolutely. Doesn't matter where you live.
It doesn't matter what you take or if you don't take anything at all. And I find that to be very very interesting. I just have to get this comment out real fast because I made that Skywalker Ranch comment. Chuck says, to some, Skywalker Ranch is also a supernatural experience. And I wouldn't disagree with that. But getting back to Skinwalker, the thing about Skinwalker too is that, I feel like, we talk about that curse that's on the land, but it feels like, and kind of to Adam's point early on, is that there's so much more to it, because there's a lot of sightings of like UFOs and stuff.
Exactly.
Which makes it very interesting too, about whether or not that is all part of the curse, or is there something that's kind of like your triangles that you're talking about in Dimensions, in your book Dimensions. What's drawing all this to this piece of land, to this area?
Well, I said it's not just this ranch; it's the whole basin. The
Right.
other ranches are having these same problems too. So it's not contained in one area.
No, and within that, you're getting, with, for the lack of a better term, cattle mutilation.
Yes.
You're getting basically a kind of like not necessarily, but kind of form of crop circles or circle sort of behavior. But you're also getting paranormal activity as well.
There's been Bigfoot sightings. We got it. There's everything there. And I actually remote viewed there myself one time, and I did see all kinds of things happening. I actually saw, when you talk about dimensions, I saw there were two dimensions trying to bump into each other, which is probably causing all kinds of interference with the equipment stuff. I think that's something to do with it. Mm-hmm. I see underground cave system.
That's interesting. So you're, and who is showing you this stuff? Or you're not, you actually, with you remote viewing, you're exploring for yourself. I should
Well, I also had a native man speak to me too, but I saw all that myself. Yes.
What do you have any insight what you think that cave system's for, and does anyone else know about that cave system that actually has owned or currently inhabit the ranch?
I don't think anybody knows about it, but the native man that spoke to me, he was there a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He was there before the Utes. I don't know, he might be a Fremont. He's been a long time. And I saw him put whatever, he had something really important to him. I felt it was important to him, and he would put it into the caves down there. That's how I know there was a cave system.
Wow. Do you know who created the caves?
I think they were natural. They look natural.
Interesting.
To me, they look natural. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Because, like I said, he's been there a long time, and he's still there. He stands. There's that little stream that they show on TV. He stands by that stream. There's a beaver dam.
Mm-hmm.
I see 2 beavers there, and he's pointing to the east to the mesa. He wants me to see something there. I don't know what.
Well, and first of all, if you're just joining us, we're talking with author Cheryl Lynn Carter. Most recent book that she co-wrote with Ryan T. Skinner is Skinwalker Ranch Encounters, available on Amazon. And I just want to say, if you go to my site, ghostboxradio.com, go to Ghostbox Book Club. If you purchase the book through Amazon through there, it helps the radio show a little bit. Please consider doing so. One way or the other, pick up the book. I've read it. It's really good. Cheryl, you also have some folks in the chat that are saying hi to you, so I just wanted to pass that along. But the thing is, with that person that has been there for so long, does he take a role of like caretaker at this place, or is he just more of a watcher, or what do you think he has a role of any certain sort of?
He protects the land. That's what I feel, that he was a medicine man. He protects the land.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
And he's it's really interesting because in the book there's talk about seeing kind of like almost like a reptilian sort of beaver, I think is kind of how that was.
The dino beaver.
Do you think that not time travel, but looking into other parts of time is part of that place? Because you wonder if like something like that is more of like people are seeing something like they're looking back in time opposed to maybe something specifically there is on the ranch.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, these 2 dimensions there. That's you know, what are in these 2 dimensions? Yeah, is one a time long ago? Is one a future? What are they?
Right.
But they're just trying to collide, and I don't know what would happen if they did intersect. That might not be good.
Well, and you got to wonder too. I mean, and suppose, I mean, I would assume you would have seen this, so if this was the case, or maybe not. I don't know. Like, what if we're just part of those dimensions, and that there's future people, future people who have the skills that you have, and they're seeing what we're seeing, but and they're seeing stuff on the ranch in the future, but it's actually their past, and they're seeing.
I know it's
selves.
The crazy stuff I'm seeing. Yeah. And I know there's just a lot of paranormal activity too.
Now, since then, and shockingly, this isn't in the book, but you've had this situation. You did remote viewing, like I said, that when I read in the book that it you go to the ranch, you basically the ranch comes back with you. Remote viewing, was that the same thing? Do you still get?
I remote view all the time looking for missing people, and I've never had anything follow me home. This is the first time.
Right.
So I guess it's just the Skinwalker Ranch thing. I've never had that happen before.
Is that it's that gentleman, right? That is he. What does he tell you when he communicates with you after the fact you've done the remote viewing?
Well, there's something else that, I mean, I see him, and the weird thing is when I saw him, he looked familiar to me.
Okay.
And I said, how can he look familiar to me? I'd never been there. And then I remember when I go to Sweat Lodge, this man has been appearing to me for 7 years in Sweat Lodge, right here. I didn't even know Skinwalker Ranch 7 years ago. So how did he find me? That's really crazy.
Well, and what, I mean, do you think that there is something that, is trying to connect, that you two are meant to connect? And that was through you learning about Skinwalker Ranch.
Well, and then something else came to my house one day, and I thought it was a shadow figure. When you investigate, you see shadow figures. And then I realized it was something standing in the shadows.
Oh. And
it had like almond-shaped eyes. I go, uh-oh. But I didn't feel it was alien. I somehow I thought interdimensional. Who knows what that might be. And they downloaded some kind of code into my brain. But now, what was that for?
Well, that's just what I was going to ask. And I have to ask the question. It's like, what does that feel like when you have something like that download into you, but you really it's happened, but you don't. It sounds like it didn't enlighten you in any way, at least yet. Maybe it's something that.
Well, I says I don't understand, and again, you will when you get here.
So that's a major part of it.
Yeah. Well, just tell me. Yeah, and it had, I don't know what kind of code it was. It had a lot of zeros and ones, but there were twos, there were letters in there. I don't know what kind of code it was.
That's interesting. Why don't we do this so we can stay on track here? Okay. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Cheryl Lynn Carter. Her book is Skinwalker Ranch Encounters. Folks, if you have any questions for Cheryl, you can call in 952-946-6205. That's 952-946-6205. You can also put your questions in the comments. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. CitiesCon returned to the Minneapolis Convention Center for their 4th year, November 8th through 10th. Twin Cities Con is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall and artist alley for the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&A, and even more. Twin Cities Con is bigger and better than ever before, with guests like Anakin Skywalker himself, Hayden Christensen, Stephanie Beatrice from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Encanto, WWE Hall of Fame wrestler Sting, and Lou Diamond Phillips. Plus, your favorite voice actors. 3 days of action-packed fun in the heart of Minneapolis at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Tickets start at $25. Kids tickets are just $8 for the entire weekend. VIP tickets also available, including some really cool VIP perks. Don't wait to get your tickets because early bird pricing is for a limited time. Buy your tickets and get more information at TwinCitiesCon.com. Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Recently, I had a large order of custom designed t-shirts that needed to be turned around in a hurry. I knew exactly who to call. Grady Gear Company. Grady Gear Company is a local company that handles large and small custom clothing and apparel orders. I had a lot of questions from color, shirt quality, and what sizes we needed. Grady Gear Company was great to work with. They got us what we needed on time, and now everybody's looking great around the station in their new gear. Start your order at GradyGearCo.com.
Greg Bakun here. Like many of you, I still collect physical books, and not just any books, but books about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. I go to Megas Books and Herbs, located in the Arts District of Minneapolis, but books are only part of it. Megas Books and Herbs offers crystals, jewelry, herbs, oils, and consultations on how to use this stuff. Check out their in-store classes and events too. This place has everything to expand your horizons. Located at 1848 Central Avenue, Minneapolis, or visit megasbooks.com. And I just want to quickly talk about the last ad that was on during the break. And for those, if you were listening to the podcast version, we're going to have taken it out. And that is basically just a reminder to folks, if you go to places, we talk a lot about Mavericks, we talk about Refined Divine, we talk about Metamorphosis Connections and Megas Books. If you're going out there and you've heard about them through us, please let them know, because it helps us, it helps them. And it's always about helping small businesses, and that's exactly what AM 950 is. That's what all these other places are, and we're just all trying to survive together. And I just want to thank them very much, all the places I just mentioned, for sponsoring us, because they put their money where their mouth is for us, and they have been great partners. So I just really want to thank all of them for everything. And someone else I'd like to thank, and there was a comment in the comments, and I feel like I need to pull this out here. Steve White had said, big shout out to Courtney Peterson, always taking time to share out. Thanks, Courtney, you're awesome. I just want to say, for those who are listening on the radio, this may not make a whole lot of sense, but we do stream on a lot of Facebook platforms, and one of them is Get Haunted, which go to Get Haunted, like the page, please. And also just know that while I'm doing the show, Courtney is behind the scenes putting into the comments links for my own stuff, let alone for Get Haunted. And it's just been really helpful. And she's always there to make sure that I am, taken care of and everything else. And I do want to take a moment and just thank you, Courtney, for doing that for me, because it makes a huge difference. And, it's just always nice to know that people like what we're doing enough to make sure that it gets out there. And she does it for not just my show, but a lot of shows. So Courtney, I just wanted to thank you for that very much. We are talking with author Cheryl Lynn Carter. We're talking about her book, Skinwalker Ranch Encounters. And we've been talking this last segment kind of generally about the ranch itself, and also some of your experiences, which is pretty incredible. You haven't been out to the ranch, but you've been able to remote view. And for those who don't know remote viewing, if that's a new concept, it literally means what it says, that you, as with mediumship, you're able to get into places and view it without having to be there, like the Skinwalker Ranch, for example. Oh, you're sorry. You got muted on you. Sorry. There you go.
You could also see the past when you remote view sometimes.
So what does that look like? I mean, obviously you're like, well, it looks like the past, Greg. But what does that? I mean, is it somebody trying to show you something, or are you just being able to kind of go where you want to go? I'd love to know more about that.
Well, like when I'm working on a missing person case, I have to go to the past to see who abducted this child. I'm not looking at where they are right now. So you kind of go to the past.
Do you have to, when you're doing that, do you have to relive that abduction through their eyes, or do you see it from?
It's different all the time. Yeah.
And is it different based on because of the person you're trying to look for?
Right.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm seeing the person. Sometimes I'm seeing, like, if they got killed. Sometimes I'm seeing the killer.
Wow.
It's always different.
Wow. That has to be tough.
Yeah.
What kind of? Don't answer if you don't want to. What kind of effect does that have on you?
I'm so used to it now, but but when you're looking through the killer's eyes, that's not a good thing.
Do you get their emotion as well at that point? Doesn't mean like they take you over, but do you feel like where they're at and whatnot?
Yeah. That's how we help find the killer sometimes.
Wow. What I mean, if I may ask, what kind of success rate do you have on that?
That's pretty good success rate.
That's pretty incredible.
And then I've got a composite program on my computer like the police have, where I can draw faces, and we've caught quite a few guys like that after I did composite drawings.
Do they ever know the people that you're trying to get? Are they ever told that remote viewing is a part of it? I'm just curious if they're just like, come on, really? Because it's so.
Police tell them that. No,
I wouldn't think so. That's incredible. And I mean, the thing about remote viewing too, which if you look hard enough, you'll be able to find it. But the government has, they said they had, but they have big programs for. They bring in mediums to do huge remote viewing, right?
Well, they have their own kind of remote viewing program. I don't do it that way. They have like a specific target, and then somehow they can look at coordinates or something, and somebody picks it up. I don't do it that way. That sounds confusing to me. I just go there.
Well, and I could be wrong, but I feel like it sounds
There's different ways, yeah.
Right, and it sounds to me that it's like almost like more of a group think when it's remote viewing on that sort of stage, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's weird. Linda asked the question, Cheryl, can you hold a killer's image in your head long enough to do a drawing? Does it take too long?
That's why I got the composite. Yeah, I can keep that face. Oh yeah.
Do you have to do something to kind of? I mean, are you able to let it go easy enough, or do you have to do anything like cleansing or something to let that go?
No, I do a little sage, maybe. Yeah.
You're
just happy they caught him, and that you feel good. That makes you feel good, right there.
That immediately just kind of wipes it all away.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's funny. I'm talking to the pro over here because like that. I'm thinking that do you have to do anything special to kind of get that image? And you're like, nah. Yeah.
Well, you might be talking to people that channel. I don't channel anything.
Mm-hmm.
When you channel, you're letting something enter you. I would never do that. So
and you wouldn't need that for what you're trying to do.
No.
You're trying to track down somebody.
Right.
You don't need.
And I can talk to spirits without them jumping into me. That's dangerous. You don't want to do that. I've
never really understood that personally. I mean, to each their own. Whatever. It's far be it from me to say what people should or shouldn't do, but and I also see it, and I actually touched on this last night. I see people on paranormal investigations where they allow something to enter them because they're trying to, and it's only to try to communicate too. It's not even trying to like track down somebody of like right. Well,
you don't have to let them into your body to communicate with them.
No.
That's why you have recorders,
Absolutely.
Because I saw, I wasn't there when it happened, but I saw a video of a team I know. They had a former team member that's not with them now. She let a spirit into her body. Now, she was just a little 5'5" woman. It took 3 guys to hold her down. She tried to kill all of them. She found a bunch of tools where they were. Yeah, because this man had entered her body. See, that's what I mean. You don't do that. No,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're talking with Cheryl Lynn Carter. We're talking about her book, Skinwalker Ranch Encounters, which we are going to start talking about it. But you feel free to put a question in the comments. Also, feel free to call in 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Why don't we talk about the book a little bit? The book is called Skinwalker Ranch Encounters. What is the book about?
Well, it's about people that have lived on the ranch or visited the ranch or been close to the ranch. Some were trying to communicate with something, like the Shermans were not trying to communicate with something.
Yeah.
But something, a hitchhiker just took over everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Shermans bought the ranch in 1994, and they only lived there 14 months before they sold it to Bigelow. And the Myers owned it before then. And when they bought the ranch, there's where this story comes from. Garth Myers sold them the ranch after his sister died. And he told them not to dig in a certain place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know where that place might be. Didn't tell him why. Just don't dig there. So that's where the story comes from. You know, who knows this? This guy was a doctor that lived in Salt Lake City. He wasn't even living on the ranch. So I don't know where he came up with that story.
Well, what I expect to hear next is, but then they dug there, you know, because isn't that how that normally works?
Well, I thought on the show they did dig in that spot.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched the show, and the reason is the show good.
Yes.
Okay. You got to understand, right? It's like you hear all these programs. We know that they're all made for entertainment purposes. So I'm always leery about, all of them now, quite frankly. So I haven't really watched. I know it's super popular. But I think I much rather like learn about it through books like yours and your experiences, because first of all, I trust you, I know you, and I know exactly what you do. You, for those who don't know Cheryl, you could talk to everything, can't you? I mean, we one time, and check out the past episodes, talked about some of your CE5 experiments that you've done, which is pretty cool. And I have yet to do so. But the one thing that has eluded you so far is to be able to get on the ranch itself.
I know.
That's a bummer.
And it's like they keep calling me there, but something's keeping me away. There could be different forces trying to keep me away too. Right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, and I mean this very seriously, because I'm sure it might come across as like, is he having a go? The gentleman who is protecting the land, have you talked to him about it in your conversations about getting onto the ranch?
He keeps saying, when you get here.
How do you get there? That's
what I said. How do I've been to the gate.
Right. And I've been to the gate of Area 51. I mean, it doesn't quite get you in there.
So when I got to the stop sign 2 years ago, and the voice with the code said, pick up that rock. And I start laughing, and my friend goes, what's the matter? I said, the voice told me to pick up that rock, and we're standing on a gravel road. So I'm looking around, and I saw this flat oval-shaped rock. So I pick it up, and the voice said, not that one. I'm laughing again. I said, oh, this is a joke. Okay. So I found another one that looked like, and I picked it up, and it started vibrating in my hand. So I came home with it, put it on my driveway, took my tri-field meter out there. Just, I don't know why. It's a rock. It measured a 4. So last year at Phenomicon, I went up to Eric Bard, and I said, Eric, I want to tell you about this rock. And I says, it measures a 4 on my tri-field. He opens his briefcase and whips out his tri-field. Of course, he carries that around with him, right?
Yeah.
He sets it on the coffee table, and it did the same thing. And I go, what do you think? He goes, interesting. Well, that didn't help me. Okay.
Well, and that's just, have you ever mentioned to them that you want to get in?
Yeah. You just go, whatever.
Well, that's
not up to them. It's up to Brandon.
That's their mistake. That's all I know. It's tough. I mean, I get it. And, it's like,
well, they're filming all the time too. So,
No, I get it. But, you're camera ready. So, get you in there.
I don't want to be with History Channel. I just wanted to get in there a few minutes,
Absolutely. Well, you got to wonder too, as soon as you step in, how soon after you step in does that code start coming to life for you?
Exactly. But why me? I'm so far away. Why did you give it to me?
But it to me, it seems like it has to do with the fact that the convergence of those dimensions, the convergence of why you needed to do that remote viewing of the ranch, and why 7 years ago it became part of your life up to that point in hand.
Yeah. I got this code, and I got this rock. What does all this mean?
Right. So here's the question Linda had, and I think it's a good one, because a lot of us we know what you're talking about here, but she's wondering what was for a frequency, like what does the Trifeld measure that was able to give that number, and why is that significant?
Well, it means that there's some kind of magnetic energy
in a rock,
and it's a rock, and there should not be,
yep.
like Eric said, there should be no magnetic energy in a rock.
So yeah, so I mean, and for Eric to also be like, oh yeah, that is interesting. I mean,
yeah, I stumped the scientist. Wow. Okay.
But not enough to get you on the ranch yet. You got to try harder, I guess. I don't know.
I told him, I says, I would love to have you, take this and break it and analyze it. I said, but I don't think they want me to break it. And even he said, no, I would never break it. So even he thought that he shouldn't break the rock.
It's interesting, the underlying level of respect for anything to do with that area, that you and everyone else seems to have for that, because it's like you got to wonder too for them, because it's still an unknown quantity in terms of the entirety of that location, that they have to be very careful about how they approach just about anything that happens there.
Sure, yeah. You don't want to destroy evidence.
Especially, I mean, and it is interesting that you're at a location where a random rock, which wasn't so random to you, but to most of us would be a random rock, actually holds some sort of story that we don't quite know yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all the rocks, they're your typical gravel.
Yeah.
So this one, it's about as big as the palm of your hand, and it's flat. So it was totally different than the rest of the rocks, but like, where did it come from? Where did they bring this gravel from? Or was it always there? We don't know where this rock came from.
That's interesting. God, that's really interesting. Why don't we do this? Because this last segment blew by. So why don't we take another break? When we come back, I want to talk about maybe a couple of your favorite stories in the book. And any questions anyone else has, feel free to put them into the comments or give us a call, 952-946-6205. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Gritty Gear Company is a great place to go for clothing that is fun and expressive. But did you know we also do custom orders on demand? We've worked with all types of companies and organizations, from first responders to even a certain radio station. Our team is here to help you look amazing. Our clothing is of the highest quality, and you will love your logo on the finished product. We are a locally owned small business who simply wants you to look great. Find out more at grittygearcompany.com.
We know you value buying local, especially when it comes to your magical supplies. So if you're looking for grimoires, decks, jewelry, candles, or herbs that are locally sourced, then come on down to Magus Books and Herbs. Curated for your ritual, ceremonial, spiritual, and spellwork needs, we've got all the tools to make your working extra. So make that prosperity ritual one that keeps on giving by visiting us at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis, or visit us online at magusbooks.com.
And join us tomorrow. Tomorrow night is Myth or Mystery Night. If you are watching us on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun on Facebook, or at Myth or Mystery Live on YouTube. Myth or Mystery is our weekly program where we take a look at videos that are sent in by our viewers, and we, along with the voting of our audience, kind of give a consensus whether or not we believe something is myth, mystery, or unknown. Tomorrow we're taking a look at a haunting at an old hospital. And also tomorrow night, for those who watch, you may know that we do viral video segments with Ghost Inspector Greg, and he is going to be live with us tomorrow, taking part in the program. It's going to be a lot of fun. We look at this stuff, we have fun with it. And we invite you to join us there as well. This is our last live show of GhostBox Radio for the week. We're taking Thursday and Friday off. We'll be back Monday. We'll be talking about, it's an episode that we had to move because of my Facebook stuff, but it's the episode about the connection with Jackie Gleason and President Nixon, over President Nixon showing Jackie Gleason some alien bodies and stuff. A great book was written about that. We're going to be talking about that Monday. We are talking with Cheryl Lynn Carter. We're talking about Skinwalker Ranch Encounters. It's available on Amazon. Once again, I'm going to say, if at all possible, if you want to get this book, please go to ghostboxradio.com. Look up Ghostbox Book Club. The book will be up there, and you can buy it, and it helps us out a little bit as well. So really appreciate it if you do so. One way or the other, you need to get this book, because there's some great stuff in there. In the comments, Cheryl, Chuck had said he wondered if that rock of yours could be a small meteorite, or maybe a piece of rock. Oh, that's it. I'm gonna zoom in on you here.
Can you see it?
Right. Look at that.
It's not that big. See?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's cool. Look at that. Thank you for sharing that.
Rocks. How skinny it is.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think of Chuck's thought that may be a piece of a meteorite or something like that?
No, I have pieces of meteorite. Here's that's a piece of a meteor.
I'm gonna zoom in on you again.
Yeah, that's an actual piece of a meteor.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
You have all the cool stuff.
So no, it's not the same. Yeah.
Well, and I think I know for myself, I guess I didn't expect it to be as smooth as that either. That rock that you found over at Skinwalker, I didn't expect it to be as smooth as that. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's got like little red spots on it. And what Eric said, maybe if I could, make it like black and white, he goes, maybe it's a star constellation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Like that's somehow imprinted on
telling
the rock
us
itself.
something. Yeah.
Huh.
So far, I haven't figured that out, but that's an idea.
What I mean, was someone's telling you, take the rock. Clearly, it was meant for you to find.
Yeah, but what it's supposed to do for me, I don't know. Yeah.
That's the hard part, is waiting, right? And trying to figure.
What if I found the star constellation? Then another question. What would that be for?
Right, exactly. I mean, but there's clearly a reason for it, and that's exciting. Does that how long ago was that you picked up that rock?
2 years ago.
All right. God, that's interesting. I wonder. And do you think that's the only way you're gonna maybe find out that, and also that code, by being inside the ranch?
I don't know. Well, they keep saying, they give me part of an answer, and I go, and you'll know when you get here. I keep hearing, you'll know when you get here. Well, can't I just stand by the gate and you can tell me?
Right, you were there. I mean, but
why can't you just tell me right here?
Yeah.
You're already telling me stuff.
Huh. Wow.
And they want me to see something on the Mesa. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's exciting. Hopefully that's able to happen. The book itself, Skinwalker Ranch Encounters, a lot of, like we talked about earlier, a lot of people having their experiences there and what happened. Is there like one or something that we can kind of talk about that kind of stood out for you as you're helping collect these stories for the book?
Well, everybody's heard about the Dino Beaver. We're talking about the Dino Beaver before.
Yep.
Okay, so here's how that story came about. Combe Callagher was one of Bigelow's team, and since he got that OSAP, all that money, the black budget money from the government to run programs,
like 22 million or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. The only bidder. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
What? How can I get a black budget?
Yeah. That wasn't fixed anyway. So Juliet Witt, who also was a defense intelligence officer from the same office as well, as long as those guys have been to the ranch, I want to come out for a visit too. So she went there, and Combe Callagher took her. They're walking around the ranch, and all of a sudden they got to this one area, and there was no sound. Looks like they were in a vacuum. There was no birds, no crickets. It was really strange, and they felt like they were somewhere else, not where they were. And all of a sudden they saw this huge creature in front of them. It had to be 150 pounds, and it looked like it was a pig, but it had spikes on its back like a dinosaur, and it had a beaver-like tail. And so they're watching it, and it went over behind one of the homesteads. So they went there, and they start going around the side of the homestead, and went all the way around, wasn't there, completely disappeared. So he's the one that gave it the name Dino Beaver.
Dino Beaver. And it wasn't as close to being like 30. Was it 30 feet or 30 meters?
Right. It was right in front of him. Yes.
Right in front of them.
And it just disappeared.
What I found interesting about that story as well was that one of the things that they said, which, I've had minor experiences with UFOs and aliens and stuff, but that stillness that you talked about, if I'm not mistaken, they said that that's something that reminds them of like a UFO being around, or that they're going to see a UFO or something. Have you experienced that sort of stillness when you have encountered such things?
Yes.
That's pretty accurate.
When I saw my UFO, everything was quiet. Yes. Yes.
And so I was trying to think if that's kind of the same way that it was when I had a couple Bigfoot experiences where I saw one and one touched me. And yeah, I never told you that, huh?
No.
I could talk about that off air because I've talked about it many times on here. I don't want to. This is about you, but this is one of those things that it is like like there's that sort of almost like that silence is like waiting, like there's waiting for something to happen. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, that's because I when I was reading the story and they're talking about that stillness, I'm like, oh, so they're going to see some sort of UFO, because that's been established in the book already, that people see that. To find something that's like a Dino Beaver, it kind of took me by surprise.
Yeah, and another one, we talk about hitchhikers following someone home, but a lot of these stories, the hitchhiker didn't follow that person home. It followed their family members who weren't even there.
Nice. That's a bit.
Which is there was another group of guys that were working for Bigelow, James Costigan, David Wilson, and Jonathan Axelrod, and we all know that was really Jay Stratton now. And they were out with the night vision cameras one night, and they're looking at stuff, and again that funny zone of silence feeling, and all of a sudden they stopped. They're close to the homesteads, and they stopped, and they go, what's going on? And they couldn't see through the camera, and he says, look. And there was this big blackness like a big zone of blackness in front of one of the homesteads.
Mm-hmm.
And then they felt just really, really creepy. And they said, we better go a different way. And so they left. And then they thought everything's fine. They go home. So Axelrod goes home, and he's going on other trips for the government and stuff. And his wife, Ruth, gets up in the middle of the night, and she sees a shadow figure in her bedroom. And she goes, oh, it's one of the boys. And she got up, and the boys are in their room sleeping. And then she's hearing noise downstairs in the kitchen, and there's nobody there. And then one night she looks out the patio window, and there's this huge wolf standing there by the tree looking at her. It was like 7 feet tall wolf.
Yeah.
And then her sons were seeing the same wolf out there. And when Axelrod came back home, she told them, and they went outside, and by that tree, there were huge claw marks on the tree.
Nope. No, thank you.
And then her one son was actually being visited by the orbs. The orbs were coming into his room. He couldn't move. He was like paralyzed in his bed. So they never had been to the ranch.
Do you know do you know if wolves were known to be around that area?
No, there were no wolves.
No wolves.
No. I think they were living in DC at the time. No,
well,
no wolves.
There are wolves then. Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, I don't.
Insert joke here. Chuck had a question. Do you think that sometimes a supernatural sensation can cause you to lose sound around you?
Sure, why not?
Well, and I'm kind of wondering too, Chuck, are you talking about whether or not you're sensing the supernatural yourself, and it's kind of like almost like a defense mechanism that's kind of shutting you down, or because I'm just curious, because because the book kind of makes it sound like that is the case, but I wonder if it's like something that's self-persevering or something like that. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
And another one, you've probably heard of Chris Bartell, who used to be one of Bigelow's guards.
Yeah.
He was a guard from 2010 to 2018. And I just love the one story he always tells, that they were out on patrol one night, probably 2:00 in the morning, and they looked like a man up on top of the mesa.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're watching, the man started leaning forward, and he got down on all fours, and he turned into a wolf.
Wow.
And they thought they were seeing something. And the next morning when they went up there, they found these huge wolf prints on top of there.
And we hadn't even talked about that part of it, about the skinwalkers themselves, and that they change from human to animal. Right,
because a skinwalker is really, it's Navajo witchcraft. It's called the witchery way.
Mm-hmm.
When medicine men are studying, they learn the good magic and the bad magic. And if someone decides they're going with the bad magic, they become skinwalkers. And the way to become a skinwalker is you have to kill a family member.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you ever saw the show Dark Winds.
No.
A few years ago. It was about a sheriff that he was on the Navajo reservation.
Mm-hmm.
That was his area. And the first season, there was actually a woman on there, and she was a skinwalker.
Really?
It was so cool to see that on TV. Yes.
Did she change on TV, or just
no? But it showed how she was able to control people.
Oh.
She just needed to get a piece of their hair, and she could control them and kill them, and it was scary.
Do you have does that mean that she had to kill someone in her family to get that?
Yeah, that's what I've read, that's how you become.
Carol says, love listening to you. I was lucky to have my son bring me there last year to meet the Skinwalker cast. It's amazing. Cheryl, it seems like everyone got in there except you. I'm just going to be
no. We Phenomicon. Went to Phenomicon. Is that where you went, Phenomicon?
Yeah, that probably. That's pretty cool though, Carol. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, no, it's honestly, and this is we talked about a few stories, but once again, go get the book. The book is called Skinwalker Ranch Encounters. Carol did say yes, that's where she met them. And the book is available on Amazon. Go to GhostBox Radio, GhostBox Book Club in like 10 minutes because I forgot to put it up there. And buy it through us, and we get a little bit help on there. We have, let's see here, we have I think really just seconds. Oh, we're already out of time. Cheryl, let's get you back on. Let's talk about more good stuff coming up. Okay,
sounds good.
Thank you very much, everyone. Get Cheryl's book. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back on Monday with a live show. We'll be on doing replays Thursday and Friday. Thank you all very much. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.